Good morning everyone. Tuloy natin discussion natin sa financial analysis.
Race analysis last time, and let me have a run through of lesson that we have taken. Ito natin na-take up, no? So we are done with computing the working capital, computing the ratio analysis, the current ratio, computing the acid test ratio, computing the accounts receivable turnover, inventory turnover, day sales uncollected, the day sales in inventory. So, tapos na natin yan. Ito rin accounts payable turnover. So, let us start with this one. So, accounts payable turnover. Firstly, accounts payable is ito yung mga utang ng company. When we say accounts payable, ito yung mga utang sa suppliers. Ang opposite niyan, accounts receivable, no? Whereas accounts receivable is the pautang, accounts payable naman is the utang ng company. So when we say accounts payable turnover, sabihin yan, this ratio measures how many times a company pays its liability to suppliers each year. So, simply means, sa loob ng isang taon, ilang beses mong binayaran yung mga utang mo. How many times did you pay your accounts payable? Kaya tinawag siyang turnover. Is it 5 times? So, ang sagot dito, no, pag sinabi yung turnover, ilang beses, no? So, 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. Pag na-compute natin to, pag lumabas sa sagot ay example 5, it means 5 times. Sabihin, sa loob ng isang taon, 5 times yung binayaran ng iyong payables. Now, the formula is accounts payable is equal to net purchase divided by average accounts payable. For example, no, net purchase is 150,000 and average accounts payable is 7,005. Divide mo lang yan and you got 20 times. Sabi niyan, sa loob ng isang taon, 20 times mong binayaran ang iyong mga payable. So, how do you analyze this one? So, madalas kang magbayad ng mga payables mo. Mga long-term payable. Yung numerator na net purchase, ito yung mga total amounts of merchandise na binili mo. Kaya purchase na. Divided the average accounts payable. So, average accounts payable is you just add the beginning and ending accounts payable, then divided by 2. So, as you can see in our solution formula, no? Average accounts payable is beginning accounts payable, example 7,000, plus ending accounts payable, example 8,000, so that is 15,000, divided by 2. It gives you 7,005. So, 7,500 ang iyong average accounts payable. Ito yung magiging denominator mo dun sa ating formula sa taas. So, 150,000 divided by 7,500, that is 20 times. No? So, that is short turnover. 20 times yung binayaran ang iyong mga short-term liability sa loob ng isang taon. Yeah. So, I've taken that before the midterm exam. Ito namang days purchase in accounts payable. So, the ratio is a useful measure in evaluating how long the business takes to pay its credit suppliers. Ito naman, the title is Days Purchase in Accounts Payable. Ibig sabihin, sa loob ng isang taon, ilang araw ang binibilang bago mo bayaran ang iyong mga payables. The formula is Days Purchase in Accounts Payable is equal to accounts payable, for example, 8,000 divided by cost of goods sold, 300,000. The accounts payable na numerator na 8,000, that is the ending. That is the ending accounts payable. No? Yung cost of goods sold naman, ito yung total puhunan ng iyong mga binili. Okay? Example, pupunta kang Divisoria, no? Ang dalawang pera, 300,000. Nabili ka doon. Yan ang cost of goods sold mo. Okay? Kaya yung 300,000 na pamili mo sa Divisoria, no? Ibibenta mo yon siyempre, mas mataas na sa 300,000 ang napagbentahan. Yan ang tinatawag natin sales or revenue. Ayan, no? So, accounts payable, 8,000 divided by 300,000 times 365. The 365 is the total number of days in 1 year. Okay, so 8,000 divided by 300,000, that is 0.0267. Multiplied by 365, it gives you 40 days. So what does it mean? Alright, so sa isang taon, i-count 40 days bago mo bayaran ang iyong mga pagkakautang. And how do you analyze that? No? So medyo matagal ka magbayad. Ibig sabihin, you can delay the payables. Kung pwedeng pag-usapan, kung pwedeng kang makiusap, that is why you can delay your payables. No? So, 40 days, no? Mahaba. That is more than one month. So, more than 1 month ka bago ka magbayad ng mga payables mo. Ayan, no? So, that is the days purchase in accounts payable. Ito namang cash conversion cycle, the sum of the days sales account collected. So, ito yung ilang araw binibilang mo bago may convert into cash yung mga binibenta mong mga merchandise. Okay, so the formula is the sum is sales uncollected and the days sales in inventory. So dito, bilangin mo yung number of days mo na bago ka makakolekta ng mga receivable mo. Example, no? 30 days ka bago makakolekta ng mga receivable. Okay? So, itabi mo yung 30 days na yan. Plus, idagdag mo dyan yung days sales in inventory. Sabihin, ilang araw binibilang mo bago ma-convert into cash ang iyong mga inventory. O, sabihin natin 20 days. So, yung 30 days kanina, plus yung 20 days ngayon, pag-add mo yan, no? That is 50 days. Okay? So, itabi muna natin yung total na 50 days. Now, from the 50 days, ibawas natin ang days purchase in accounts payable. Ibig sabihin, ilang araw mo bago bayaran ang iyong mga payable. Example, sabihin natin 25 days. Okay? So, therefore, yung 50,000 kanina, ibawas mo dyan yung 25 days na accounts payable. Ang cash conversion cycle mo is 25 days. Alright? So, ano ibig sabihin ng 25 days? It represents the number of days a firm's cash remains tied up within the operation of the business. Ibig sabihin, 25 days mo bago ma-convert into cash. No? Or 20 days ang bibilangin mo bago ka makakolekta. Kasi yung cash na yon ay naka-tie up pa sa operation, kaya hindi mo pa nakukolekta after 20 days pa. Then, ibig sabihin ng ating cash conversion cycle. And how do you analyze? O, syempre, the lower the cash conversion cycle, the more healthy a company generally is. Yan. That is our analysis. Mas konting araw, 25 days. Ibig sabihin, within 25 days ka mag-convert into cash. So, pag yan pala naging 50 days, ibig sabihin, 50 days pa bago mag-convert into cash. Pag yan naging 60 days pa bago mag-convert into cash. So, what is our analysis? Mas mababa, mas konti yung days. The lower the cash conversion cycle, mas maganda or mas healthy para sa company. Ibig sabihin, 25 days ang bibilangin mo bago mag-convert into cash yung mga receivable mo. So, mas konti, kung pwedeng pagbabaan yan into 15 days or 10 days, mas healthy para sa company. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Ito yung quiz. Ayan, that is our quiz pala. No? Itong last part, the total asset turnover. Okay, so ano ibig sabihin itong ratio na yan? This ratio daw reflects a company's ability to use its assets to generate sales. It is an important indication of operating efficiency. So, ilang beses mong nagagamit yung mga asset mo para makabenta. So, take note guys, no? Pag sinabing asset, ito yung mga total ari-arian ng company sa business. Yung cash, yung receivable, yung inventory, yung equipment, mga machinery. Ito mga asset na to, o resources of the business, how many times mo yung nagagamit to generate sales or to generate benta? Kung madalas mo nagagamit yan, so you can say that your operation is efficient. Pero dapat nating malaman ilang beso nga. That is why we have this ratio, the total asset turnover. Okay, so formula, the total asset turnover is equal to, dapat mo nating makakuha ang ating net sales. Na? Pag sinabing net sales, ito yung benta natin, net. Pag sinabing net, nabawas na din yung discount, nabawas na din yung mga returns. Kasi iba yung gross sales sa net sales. Kasi pag sinabi natin gross sales, example, gross sales is 100,000. Kaya lang, out of the sales, meron kang discount na binigay. O merong nagbalik ng merchandise, returned merchandise. No? So, ibabawas natin yun sa benta natin. Example, 5,000 yung ibabawas. No? So, 100,000 gross sales less 5,000 discount. Ang difference is 95,000. So, the 95,000 is what we call the net sales. Okay? Then, divide that by the average total asset. So, as usual, pag sinabi nating average, beginning plus ending divided by 2. And you will get the average. So, therefore, pag sinabi nating average asset, beginning total asset plus ending total asset divided by 2, and you will get the average total asset. Pag sinabing beginning, yan yung asset mo ng January. Pag sinabing ending, yan yung asset mo ng December 31. Yan mo yung dalawa, divided by 2. And you will get your average total asset. Alright? So ito, no? Sample, like sa kunwari, no? Net sales natin is 50,000. Pulayan natin ang pang-font. Yun. Okay? Then, kunwari, no? Beginning asset, 5,000. 5,000. Plus, ending asset, 7,000. Okay? Divided by 2. So, that is 5,000 plus 7,000, that is 12,000. Tama? Then, divided by 2 gives you 6,000. So, ang denominator natin doon sa taas is 6,000 pesos. Right? Tama ba? Okay, tama. Then, therefore, 50,000 divided by 6,000. Okay, so sabay na mag-compute. 50 divided by 6. So that is 8.33. Right? Ang sagot is 8.33. 8.32. So since that is turnover. So, ang sagot natin is 8.33 times. Since wala namang 0.33 na beses na to, i-round off natin. So, 8.33 magiging 8 lang. Round it off. Okay, so therefore, that is only 8 times. Okay, so ano ibig sabihin ng 8 times? Sa loob ng isang taon, yung mga asset mo ay ginamit mo ng 8 times to generate sales. No? Example, yung equipment, yung pera, yung account receivable, ay ginamit mo ng 8 beses sa loob ng isang taon to generate sales or revenue. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng total asset turnover. This ratio reflects a company's ability to use its assets to generate sales. Ibig sabihin, is it efficient? Yes, kasi madalas mo nagagamit yung asset mo, di ba? 8 times sa loob ng isang taon. Pag yan pala ay 1 time or 2 times lang, hindi masyadong efficient. Kasi ibig sabihin, 2 times mo lang ginamit mga asset mo sa isang taon. Not efficient, di ba? So, buti na lang, 8 times ang atin nakuha. Okay, so that is what we mean by the total asset turnover. Okay, so the first topic for this last one is the solvency. Okay, pag sinabi natin solvency, your company should have the capability to pay those obligations or payables that are more than 1 year. Solvent ka. Ibig sabihin, solvent ka. No? Ang kabaliktaran yan, sa mga past lessons, no, is the liquidity. So, just a review, pag sinabi natin liquidity kasi, your company should have the ability to pay its obligation within 1 year. Liquidity yun. No? So, gaano karaming pera ng isang company para matawag na liquid. Whereas solvency is if you have the capability to pay yung mga masyadong malang matatagal na obligation or payables yun. Mga utang na more than 1 year, kaya mo siyang bayaran, it means you are solvent. Okay, so ito yung ating ratio nating pag-aaralan now. We should know or paano natin malalaman na solvent ang isang company or paano malalaman na merong solvency ang isang company or isang negosyo. And we have several tools to be used paano natin malalaman kung solvent ang isang company. The first one is the debt ratio, equity ratio, the pledged asset to secured liabilities, and the times interest earned. Ito yung gagamitin natin to know if a certain company or company niyo mismo or business niyo mismo ay merong solvency or kayang bayaran para ng mga pagkakautang. Okay. Okay, so the first one, the debt ratio. So assuming that this one is the debt and equity ratio. Now, assuming that your company has the following data. Total liabilities is 8 million. So, pag sabing liabilities, ito yung mga utang ng inyong company. No? So, tinutotal mo ang total utang nyo is 8 million. Ang total equity naman is 4 million. So, pag sinabing equity naman, magkano yung share mo sa negosyo mo? Or magkano yung share mo sa business, that is the equity? Parang pag tinatanong ka, di ba? How much is your share in that business? 4 million. So it means that your equity in the business is 4 million. So magkaiba sila, no? 8 million is the utang ng company, 4 million is your share in the company. Pag tinutotal natin dalawang yan, there's 12 million. We call that the total liabilities and equity. Okay, now, ang percentage yan, ang total liability or total utang mo is 66.7%. Samantalang ang total equity naman is 33.3%. Alright, and how did you compute for the 66.7? So you simply divide 8 million by 12 million and you will get the 66.7%. And divide 4 million by 12 million, you will get your 33.3%. Yan ang composition, no, nung equity. 8 million ay para sa mga pinag-uutangan mo, while 4 million is ito lang yung natira para sa iyo, that is your share in the business. Okay, so therefore the debt ratio is 66.7%, while the equity ratio is 33.3%. So simply means sa total property ng business, 33% doon ay pag-aari mo, while 66% is pag-aari ng mga creditors mo. So question is it a healthy for the company? Hindi masyado kasi. Just imagine, di ba? Out of 100, 66 dyan ay utang mo. So, sino bang may utang, di ba? Samantalang 33 lang ang pag-aari mo. So, that is not healthy. No? Ang maganda dyan, balik ka rin mo, di ba? 66 ang iyong equity at 33 ang para sa mga creditors. Yan ang maganda. So, that is the significance or the background of the debt and equity ratio. So, the debt ratio, ito yung utang, di ba? It expresses total liabilities as a percent of total asset. Sa total property daw ng business, ilan doon ang para sa creditors. Yan ang total liability. Okay? O sa 100 pesos na pag-aari, simplihan lang natin, 100 pesos ang total asset ng business. Pag sinabi natin 66%, 66 pesos doon ay para sa mga pinagkautangan mo. Yung natitirang 33 pesos, yun ang para sa'yo. In 33, that is what we call the equity ratio. So the equity ratio provides complementary information by expressing total equity as a percent of total asset. Yan. Di ba, basic in accounting, total equity is equal to your total asset. Okay? So, total liability plus equity, that is also your total asset. Hinati lang natin, di ba? So, maganda pag wala kang liability, di ba? Kaya lang, it is impossible for a business na wala kang liability. Kahit malalaking company, mayroon talaga silang liability. Kasi, a good businessman, kung pwede mong utangin ang isang something, no? So, utangin mo, huwag kang basta-basta pagbabayad ng cash. Kung credit, no? Kung credit ka palagi. So, you can't avoid liability sa negosyo. So, bakit utangin mo? Siyempre, para yung mga perang dapat pambili mo ng cash dapat, no? Ay magagamit pa sa iba. Pwede namang utangin, di ba? Yung mga Pilipino, di ba, mahilig tayo, pwede bang utangin? Yan, ibig sabihin nun, para hindi ka maglalabas ng cash. Kasi baka mamaya, mayroon ka pang mas importanteng paggagamitan ng iyong cash. Alright? Kaya on credit ka. Okay, that is the essence of the debt and equity ratio. Okay, so, ito naman yung debt to equity ratio. Iba yung debt ratio, iba yung equity ratio. Iba naman yung debt to equity ratio. So this ratio measures what portion of the company's assets are contributed by creditors. The larger debt to equity ratio, tandaan natin. If we're going to analyze this one, a larger debt to equity ratio implies less opportunity to expand through use of debt financing. Okay? So, generally, di ba, mas pangit yung yung mas malaki ang liability mo. A larger debt to equity ratio, mas malaki ay pangit. Why? It means that pag mas malaki yung liability kaysa equity, Sabihin niyan, you have a less opportunity to borrow funds. Diba? O siyempre naman, pag marami ka ng pautang, di ba, mangutang ka ba? Hindi na, di ba? O pag marami kang utang, mahirapan ka lang pautangin ng mga creditors like banks. Yan ibig sabihin ng last sentence, no? A larger debt-to-equity ratio implies less opportunity to expand through use of debt financing. So, sabihin, pag marami ka ng utang, so hindi ka na pwedeng gumamit ng debt financing. Hindi ka na pwedeng mangutang sa bangko. So, maghanap ng ibang source ng financing. Okay, so, sa ating sample, debt-to-equity ratio, ang formula, no? Total liability is equal to total equity. Okay? Okay. Debt-to-equity ratio. Right? So, compute natin. Okay, so palitan natin ito ng amount. Question, magkano ang ating total liability? Total liabilities. Okay, balik ko nga, liabilities. Okay. Magkano ang total liabilities natin? So, 8 million, di ba? Yun. So, liitan natin. Masyado maliit. Okay, yan, no? Total liabilities, 8 million. Now, magkano naman ang ating total equity? You can recall, di ba? Total equity is 4 million. Yan. So, simply divide 8 million by 4 million. Right? Ang sagot natin dyan is, sige, 8, so 2. 2:1. Kasi ratio ang ating hinahanap, di ba? 8 million divided by 4, that is 2 or 2:1. So what does it mean? Sa bawat share mo sa business, sa bawat piso na share mo sa business, may utang ka na 2 pesos. So bakit pakinggan, di ba? Ibig sabihin, 1 peso lang share mo sa business, tapos yung 2 pesos naman ang utang mo. So parang pangit pakinggan, di ba? Parang walang kwenta yung 1 peso na share mo. Yan sinasabi ng ano, no? A larger debt-to-equity ratio ay mas pangit yan. Why? Kasi nga, pag 2:1, naku, papautangin ka pa ba? Tanong naman bangko, pag nakita na lang 2:1, ibig sabihin, oh, piso lang share mo, ang utang mo, 2 pesos, baka mahirapan ng bayaran yan. Diba? So, less opportunity, hindi ka na papatangin ng bangko. Okay? So, maganda dyan, pagbaliktad. Example, 1:2. Pag yan ay 1:2, oh, maganda dyan. Pag yan ay 1:3, pag yan ay 1:4, o di ba maganda? Ibig sabihin ng 1:4, sa bawat piso na, o sa bawat 4 peso na share mo, piso lang ang utang mo sa credito. So, magandang status siya. Pag ganoon ang senaryo, no? So, mas mataas ang chance na ikaw ipapautangin pa ng mga creditors. Ayan, that is the debt-to-equity ratio. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Balikan niya, balik natin ha, 2:1. Okay, let's get this one. Ito naman profit margin, return on total asset, and return on shareholders' equity. Okay, so let us go to, so we leave behind solvency, no? So marami na pag-aralan, di ba? We talk about liquidity, we talk about solvency, we talk about, ito naman, profitability. Kung yung solvency, it tells about your capability to pay a long-term obligation. Itong profitability naman is gaano ka profitable, no? Gaano kalakas kumita, or gaano kalakas mag-earn ng net income ng isang company. Gaano ka profitable. Okay, so we have 3 tools to measure profitability of a certain company. So magagamit mo ito sa iyong sariling company. Kung gusto mong malaman kung yung company mo ba or business mo ba ay profitable or not. Okay, so malaman natin ito. The first tool is the profit margin and the return on total asset and the return on ordinary shareholders equity. So, mga ginagamit natin. Now, let's get first the profitability using profit margin. Okay, so take note guys, pag sinabing profit is the tubo, it's the income of the company. So profit margin. So we compute the profit margin by simply dividing net income divided by the net sales of the company. So madaling hanapin to, no? Net income. Ito yung magkano bang tubo ng iyong company. Pag sinabing net sales, ito naman magkano naman yung benta ng iyong company. So just divide the tubo versus by the benta, and you will get your profit margin. Okay, so what does it mean? Ano significance ng profit margin sa isang business fund like us? So this ratio describes a company's ability to earn net income from its sales dollar. Kumbaga, pag nakabenta ka ng piso, no? Sa piso magkano doon ang net income? Okay, o sa piso ba, net income doon ay 90 centavos. Maganda, no? Sa piso ba 75 cents ang net income? Maganda, no? Pero pag sa piso, ang tubo mo ay 5 cents lang. So, hindi masyadong profitable yan. Okay, so, yan ibig sabihin ng that ratio describing a company's ability to earn net income from its dollar. Okay, so, saka natin ma-check, no, kung profitable o hindi ang company, kasi hindi po rin kung marami kang benta ay profitable ka na, no? For example, nakabenta ko 1 million. Sa unang tingin, no, maganda yung bentang 1 million. Pero siyempre sa 1 million, hindi po binabawas sa mga gastos. Nung nagbabasa na, out of 1 million, ang natira, no, ang tinubo mo ay ano lang, 100,000. Ibig sabihin, 1 million, ang total gas ay 900,000. Ang natira sa iyo ay 100,000 lang. Is it profitable o hindi? Diba? Kasi parang sa 100 na benta mo, ang tinubo mo lang yan ay 10 pesos lang. So, hindi masyadong maganda na performance ng company. Kaya nga, we should know how to compute. Okay, so lagyan natin ng amount. Okay, so sample, no? Ang tubo ng company is 10,000. Uya na, tubo ng company. 10,000. Okay? Then, ang benta ng company is 70,000. Okay, so you're just going to divide 10,000 by 70,000 to get the profit margin. Okay, so 10,000 divided by 70,000. Okay, so it gives you 14%. Okay, ang sagot, no? Profit margin is 14%. Okay? Pag sinabing margin, profit margin, always write that in a percentage. 14%. So, ano ibig sabihin yan? Sa bawat 100 pesos na benta mo, ang tubo ay 14 pesos lang. So, maliit. 14% lang di ba? Ganda yan, mga 20% ang tinutubo mo. Pag 14 ang pangit, marami kang benta, sandaan. Yan na. 14 pesos lang ang tinubo mo. So, profit margin is 14% sa bababa. So, yung nagagawin mo, kung gusto mong malaman kung how profitable your company, your business is. Pag nasa 20% yan, 20% to 30%, so maganda. Pero pag mga 14, 10%, 9%, 7%, so mababang profit margin. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Ito naman yung another way how to compute the profitability. The return on total asset. Okay, so this ratio will tell you, or magagamit mo to in measuring how well assets have been employed by the company's management. Yan, yung mga asset na ng business, paano siya, or gaano sa kadalas, or gaano ka-efficient ang ginamit ng business. Yan. So, the formula, okay, once again, the net income. Alam natin net income. Ito yung tubo ng company. So, net income divided by the average total asset. Okay, so once again, pag sinabing average total asset, that is your asset beginning plus asset ending divided by 2. Okay, and you will get your average total asset. Okay, so lagyan natin ng sample. Okay, so example nun, ang magkano net income natin sa previous example, net income 10,000. Ayan. So gamitin natin yung example na net income from previous slide. So 10,000 daw. Okay, divided by average total asset. Okay, and how do you compute the average? So sample, no? Kunwari beginning asset 2,000 plus ending asset 3,000. Beginning 2,000. Okay, ending 3,000. So add natin yung dalawa. So that is 2,000 plus 3,000, that is 5,000. So 5,000 divided by 2. Suburan na natin ito. Okay, so 2,000 plus 3,000, that is 5,000, di ba? Divided by 2. Okay, and you will get your total average total asset. Okay, so 2,000 plus 3,000, 5,000 divided by 2, ang sagot, 2,500. Okay, so 2,500. Okay, yun ang sagot. Right, walang tanong paano ko yung 2,500? Okay, suburan natin yung formula para malinis. Okay, so 2,500 ang sagot natin. So, alam pa paano ko ang 2,500 Okay, so therefore, 1,000 divided by 2,005. So, anong sagot natin? 4. Tama? 10,000. Okay, 4. That is the return on total asset. Sabihin, yung total asset natin ay 4 na beses na ginamit to earn the net income of the company. Ayan, okay? Kapag yan, sir, paano pag mas mataas yung average net income? Sabi natin example, average net income, average total asset is 20,000. Sorry. Average total asset ng is 20,000. So 10,000 divided by 20,000. Okay, so anong sagot natin? So, 0.5. 0.5 or that is 50%. Yan. Okay, so that is the return on total asset. So let's go to the next one. Return on ordinary shareholders' equity. So define muna natin what is the significance of this one. This measure indicates how well the company employ the shareholders' equity to earn net income. Okay, so ang shareholders' equity, ito yung share ng mga stockholder sa company. Okay, and ilang beses daw ginagamit yung shareholders' equity to earn net income of the company. Right? So, formula, return on ordinary shareholders' equity is equal to net income minus preference dividend divided by average ordinary shareholders' equity. Okay, so yung net income, alam na natin, di ba? Net income is the tubo. Ang preference dividend, no? Ang word na dividend, ito yung pag-stockholder ng isang company, bawat taon, no? Pwede kang bigyan nilang dividend. Or ito yung share mo sa company. Example, no? Si employee, stockholder A. Sabi na may-ari ng San Miguel Corporation, stockholder A, ito yung bibigyan ka namin ng dividend ngayong taon na ito. No? Ito yung share mo sa income ng company. O nagtanong si stockholder A, o boss, magkanong dividend na matatanggap ko? O tanong ng San Miguel, ilang shares of stocks ba hawak mo? Sagot ni stockholder, mayroong hawak na 1,000 piraso. 1,000, okay. Sabi na San Miguel, sige, sa bawat 1,000 hawak mo na share, no? Bibigyan ka namin ng 75 cents na dividend. 75 cents. No? Ang mababa. No? So, pwedeng mababa. O, taasan natin. Sige, ganito lang. Bawat 1,000 shares of stocks na hawak mo, bibigyan namin dividend na 2 pesos bawat isa. Okay na? Okay, mas maganda yan, di ba? So, magkano ngayon ang dividend na matatanggap ni stockholder A? 1,000 peraso ng shares times 2 pesos. So, ang kanyang dividend daw is 2,000 pesos. Okay? O, tandaan nyo ha. So, sa net income, pagkano net income natin? 10,000. Minus reference dividend na natanggap, na pinamigay. Magkano? 2,000. Yan. Ito na ating numerator, no? So, let's go to the average ordinary shareholders equity. So, once again, since that is a average, so beginning again plus ending divided by 2. Okay? O, average ordinary shareholders equity beginning, o kunwari, 15,000 beginning. As ending, o magkano ending, o kunwari, ending natin 20,000. Yan. Okay? So, 15,000 plus 20,000 divided by 2, once again, no? Kasi average. Okay, so that is 15,000 plus 20,000, that is 35,000. 35,000 divided by 2. So that is 17,500. Okay? Ito na sagot, 17,500. So, the average stockholders equity is 17,500. Okay? So, that is, ito yung formula. Paano siya nakuha, di ba? 15 plus 20 divided by 2, 17,500. Okay? So, burahin na natin siya. Yan. Okay, yung numerator natin, 10,000 minus 2,000 is equals to 8,000. Diba? So, 8,000 ang ating numerator. Sulat natin dito, diba? Is equal to 8,000. 8,000. Okay? Try natin to. Therefore, 8,000 divided by 17,500. Okay, so divide natin. Baba natin ng konti ito. Doon. 8,000 divided by 17,500. That gives you 0.45 or 0.457. 0.457. Okay? Or, round off natin, 46 na yan, di ba? 46. So, 46% ating return. On ordinary shareholders' equity, ibig sabihin, pag ginagamit natin yung equity or share ng mga shareholders sa business, no? Nagkaka-income siya ng 46%. That is the return on ordinary shareholders' equity, 46%. So, efficient, no? Kasi, pag ginagamit mo yung mga equity na yan, no? 46% atin na i-income. Okay, so that is the return on shareholders' equity. So let's go naman sa sa next one, the market prospect. So in computing the market prospect, so definition ng market prospect is market measures are useful for analyzing corporations with publicly traded shares. Yung mga corporations na nagbebenta ng mga stocks sa public, na gusto nilang malaman gaano ka-marketable yung kanilang mga shares of stocks. These market measures use share price, which reflects the market or public's expectations for the company. This includes expectations of both company return and risk as the market perceives it. Key measures of market prospects include the price-earning ratio and dividend yield. Okay, so gaano ka-marketable yung shares of stocks ng isang company. Yun ang ni-measure natin dito. And we have two tools how to measure the market prospect. The first one is the price-earning ratio. Pangalawa yung ating dividend yield. Okay, so gamitin natin dalawang yan. Ito yung price-earning ratio. Once we know the earnings per share, we can calculate the price-earnings ratio or the PE ratio. So, dapat pala given yung earnings per share. Yan. Pag given yan, we can calculate the price-earning ratio. We will divide the closing market price per share of company's ordinary shares by earnings per share. And the ratio is used as an indicator of the future growth and risk of a company's earnings as perceived by the shares, buyers, and sellers. The price-earnings ratio is computed by dividing the market price per ordinary share. Ito market price, ito nakukuha natin sa trading day, no? Ang na-publish kung magkano ang price ng isang stock, no? So, example, stock ng company B. Isang araw, sabi natin 15 pesos per share. Yan ang ating numerator. Then divided by the earnings per share. So earnings per share, you compute that by net income divided by the total outstanding shares. Yan ating denominator. So this measure is often used by investors as a general guideline in gauging share values. Generally, the higher the price-earnings ratio, the more opportunity a company has for growth. Ito makukuha natin dito, mas mataas daw. Mas maganda for the company kasi Mas mataas, it means more prospect of growing or tumas pa yung value ng stock ng isang company. Okay, so let us compute, no? Meron ba tayong sample dyan? Meron ba? Wala. So, example, no? An example. Company A, by the way, tingnan ko yun. Tika lang. We're going to get first the market price per ordinary share. Yan, no? For example, in a certain day, ang presyo ng stock ng company B ay 5 pesos. Ang babay, 15 pesos. Yan, no? So, ito yung bentahan sa market ng isang stock ng isang company. 15 pesos. Okay, divided by the earnings per share. For example, ang net income ng company ay 100,000. Okay, 100,000. Then, ang total outstanding shares is 20,000 piraso. Shares yan. Okay, maliwanag to, ha. Yung 100,000, ito yung net income. Okay? Yung 20,000, ito yung total outstanding shares. No? Ibig sabihin, ito yung total shares na hawak-hawak ng mga stockholders ng company. Okay? So, 100,000 divided by 20,000 shares. Ang kalalabasan yan ay earnings per share. Okay, so 100,000 divided by 20. Ang sagot natin? Okay, para ba tayo? 5 pesos, no? Itong 5 pesos, ito yung earnings per share. Earnings per share yan, di ba? 5 pesos. Ba, nawala ah. Wala siya. 5. Di ba? Nakomplete natin yung 5 kanina, di ba? Okay, 5. So, therefore, 15 pesos divided by 5. Okay? So, anong ratio natin? So, ang sagot yan? 3. Okay? So, 3. Ang sagot. So, 3:1. Okay? 3:1. Sabi dito, no? The higher the price-earnings ratio, the more opportunity a company has for growth. Mas mataas, no? Mas maganda. Pag 5:1, mas maganda. Ibig sabihin, pag yan ay naging 0.5:1, 0.5 yan, 0.5, hindi 5. Pag naging 0.5:1, hindi maganda yan. So, dapat mas mataas daw. Mataas na more than 1. 2:1, 3:1, 4:1, 5:1. No? Para magandang, masabi natin maganda yung growth na hinaharap ng isang company. Okay, so anyway, it applies to it applies to corporation. Hindi natin ginagamit to sa mga sole proprietorship and partnership type of business. No? Na pangmalaking company lang to. Yung mga corporations na nagbebenta ng stocks or mayroong mga stockholders na. Okay, let's leave that behind. Let's go to the next one. The dividend yield ng company. Okay, so once again, dividend, ito yung pinapabigay na sa mga stockholders ng company as their share sa income ng company. Pag stockholder ka na sa company, bibigyan ka nila ng share. We call that the dividend. Okay? So the dividend yield, this ratio identifies the return in terms of cash dividends on the current market price per share of the company's ordinary shares. Formula, annual cash dividend per share. Itong pinapabigay na. Example, 5 pesos per share bawat taon. Yan yung ating numerator, the annual cash dividend. Divided by the market price per share. So, market price per share, ito yung sa previous slide, ito yung 15 pesos, no, na sinabi natin. Pagkano ang bentahan ng isang share sa market, that is yung market price per share. So, therefore, sa ating previous slide, ito ay 15 pesos, di ba? So, nagiging agad natin 15 pesos. Okay? So, numerator, ito yung annual cash dividend. So, depende sa company kung magkano kailangan ipapamigay na dividend per share bawat taon. Okay, sabihin natin ano. 3 pesos. 3 pesos per share ang dividend. Yan. Sabihin, pag stockholder ka ng company A, tapos meron kang hawak na 100 shares. So, 100 shares times 3, 300. So, bawat taon ang dividend mo ay 300 pesos. Yan ang annual cash dividend per share. Okay, now, to get the dividend yield, you simply divide 3 pesos by 15. Okay, so divide natin by 3 divided by 15. Okay, so 0.2. 0.2. Diba? Yan. Okay, so 0.2 is to 1. Ibig sabihin, sa bawat market price ng share, ang dividend na pinapamigay ay 0.2 lang or 20 cents lang. Sa bawat piso na market share, 0.2 cents lang ang pinapamigay as dividend. Yan. Ibig sabihin, that is the return. 0.2. Now, if you are an investor, sign natin to, no? If you are an investor who requires current income, you want to look for companies with high dividend payout ratio. Yeah. So, what is the significance of this one? Pag 0.2, hindi masyadong maganda sa paningin ng mga investor. Hindi ako mag-invest yan. Kasi masyadong mababa yung ratio, 0.2 lang, di ba? So I will look for those companies. Pag investor ako, no, I will look for those companies that have higher dividend yield. Hindi lang 0.2. If you believe that a company can invest its fund and earn a higher return than you would be able to earn, you might look for a company with high growth and low payout ratio. Okay, so that is the how to compute the dividend yield. Anyway, ito naman ay ginagamit naman sa corporation. So, if you have your own company later on, or ikaw yung maging finance manager ng isang malaking company, so this is how you compute the dividend yield ng corporation. So, okay, so that is the end. This is the end of our lecture for lesson number 7. And once again, this has been Dr. Gordes. And I'm hoping that we will see each other again for my future lessons about business, finance, accounting, marketing, entrepreneurship. Okay, and with that, I am now signing off and see you around, guys, and see you next time sa aking mga next videos for business lessons. Bye, everyone.